我是共和党加州第49选区众议员候选人。我的政见主要有3点。那第一呢，就是要严厉的打击犯罪，严惩罪犯。第二呢，我坚决反对各种极端的洗脑政策。第3点，加州税太多，加州税太重，加州税太不合理。我们只有团结在一起，才能够争取到我们的权利。请投我一票。我是刘荣祖律师。Hi, everybody. My name is David Liu. I'm the Republican candidate for the 49th Assembly District. Today, we have a distinguished guest, George Young, join us to discuss a very important issue of public safety. And it's even more important in a sense that it's about school shootings. So Mr. Young actually has some genius thoughts and ideas to discuss with us. Welcome, Mr. Young.
Well, thank you very much, David. And thank you for running, and congratulations for winning the primary. And now you are one of the 2 candidates running for state assembly in District 49. And I'm glad that you and I share the same hope that we can improve school safety in all the campuses in California. And I am a parent of 2 kids. One is in middle school and the other one is in high school. Now, we have unfortunately seen a pattern every time we have a school shooting. The Democrats will say, let's ban guns. And then the Republicans will say, hey, let's improve mental health. And yet we haven't done anything concrete to improve the situation. I cannot say that our solution can completely eradicate school shooting, but I want to bring a solution that can do 2 things. Number one, we can reduce the motivation of people committing this kind of shootings. And number 2, if this shooting should happen, we want to improve the reaction time of the police on scene and reduce the number of casualties per every event. So let me talk about the first thing first. It's a very simple proposal, and that is to stop publicizing the shooters' names, right? Let's say something happened in, I hate to say this, let's say something happened in Eureka, California, right? Instead of saying this person is John Smith or, Karen Roberts or whatever, we just say Eureka shooter 1, Eureka shooter 2. So we are not going to publicize their names. Now, that way we will reduce the motivation of people who want to be famous when they commit these crimes. Now, this is consistent with the laws that we already have on the books. In some crimes, we require the media not to disclose the name of either the victim sometimes or the perpetrator if they are underage. And we also usually ask the media not to disclose case details that could impede the investigation of a case. So for a school shooting, we will require the media to withhold the names of the perpetrators unless the identity of the shooters have a public interest. People have to know this people's name, entity, because maybe they are the relative of famous politician, for example. But usually, the names of the shooters are not of public interest. We don't need to make them famous. So this is something that we can do very easily. David is running for state assembly, and that's something that he can introduce into law in California within months. And this does not cost the taxpayer any additional funds. It's something that can be implemented immediately. Now, that's something that we can do, step number 1, so to speak. The second one is a system that will actively monitor and secure our school campuses. Now, as an engineer by training, the way that I solve problem is that I identify areas that we can improve. If we look at the case in Florida, Portland shooting in Florida and the Uvalde shooting in Texas, the common problem is that the first police officer on the scene are afraid to go into the school, perhaps because they don't have actionable information that they can act upon. Now, before this even happens, when a shooting happened between then and the police arrive on the scene, everybody will be calling 911. Most small cities, most small municipalities or counties does not have more than, for example, in my city of Menlo Park, we only have 3 people on the 911 center at any given time. For a bigger city like, say, Santa Clara, which have 120,000 people, we have like 2 major high schools. They have about 5 911 responders at any given time, dispatchers at any given time. So if 100 students call 911 at the same time, then the 911 dispatch center is going to be overwhelmed. That's a common problem that we can solve if we implement a system where every 100 schools we have a command center, like an incident response center that's going to respond when something happened within this 100 schools. And they will have a video about what's going on. They can see where the shooter is in the school so that they can direct the police officer on the scenes to very quickly subdue or immobilize the shooter so that the shooting would immediately stop or stop very quickly.
Well, yeah, I think that was a great idea. So basically, in summary, Mr. Yang proposed, first, we're not going to publicize the names of the shooters. So that will greatly reduce their motivation to commit such crimes. Because a lot of the shooters or the killers, their ultimate goal was not to kill people. Their ultimate goal was to get famous by killing people. So they know they will be on the news. Everybody will be talking about them. Just like the one Chinese movie. So that actually has been very popular in the past few months. Basically, this fugitive, he killed the other 2 fugitives just because the only reason he did it was that he wanted to be more famous than the other 2 people.
Right.
So also, statistically speaking, I think that amongst all the killings, not just in California, but also in the nation, a lot of them actually were copycat killings. So people actually, they watch the news, they say, oh, that person, he got famous because he killed a bunch of people. He killed a bunch of innocent people. I don't like to kill innocent people, but I do want to get famous. I don't want to be popular. I want people to talk about me. So they go out, they do the same thing. So it's a very tragic. So obviously, if we can have a law that would prohibit the publication of the names of the shooters,
right.
I think that will greatly deter. Obviously, it's not going to completely eradicate school shootings, but statistically speaking, I think at least probably half of them in the past, in my understanding, there were copycat killings. Right. So 50% of the killings, would be reduced. That's actually a lot of lives being saved. So that's why I think it was a genius idea, to have such law to prevent the publication of the shooters' names. And the second, as Mr. Yang pointed out, so if I do get elected as a state assembly member, I will introduce such bills. One is to prevent publication of the shooters' names, and the second to implement such technology that will prevent and at least greatly reduce casualties in the event there is school shootings. As actually Mr. Yang pointed out, actually this is not a partisan issue. It doesn't matter if you are a Republican, you're a Democrat, or you're independent. It's, as a parent, I'm sure a lot of people are. You care about a child, you care about your children.
Yes.
So if that does go forward, I think you will greatly benefit. Not just.
I believe I'm glad you mentioned that. There's also church shootings. So this system can also be applied to churches. If somebody goes to shut up a church, unless the name of the suspect was of public interest, then we should obscure his name. Say this person shut up a church. We are not going to make them famous, right? Or a synagogue or a mosque. So for the schools, the same thing for religious offices or even shopping malls, right? If somebody is committing a crime in the interest of being famous, we should block that, right? And that's one of the things we discussed earlier. We need to have procedure in place for the first, say, 3 days or 1 week of the shooting. We are not going to publish the name of this person. And then after that, if a judge said, well, the name is of public interest, then we publishes it. But before then, or if every judge says, well, no, we don't need to know this person's name. The public does not need to know this person's name. Then we obscure it. We know what happened. We want them to find out how to improve the security. But most of the times, we do not need to know the exact name of this shooter, whether it's John Smith or Kevin Roberts. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So if I do get elected as a school or as a state assembly member, I will introduce those two bills, as Mr. Yang just proposed right away, without any hesitation, without any delay. Because why? Because children's lives are at stake, people's lives at stake. So you will be extreme honor if I get to do that. So I truly appreciate, Mr.
I'm very glad that David's running. I encourage everybody statewide, whether or not if you live in the Davis district, please do vote. And if you don't, please consider giving him a donation, because he's fighting for us. He's stepping out. He's taking time from his very successful career to represent us in the state capitol in Sacramento and to bring about these solutions. He's doing this for us. So if you have time, great, help his campaign. If you don't have time, you're busy, you're successful, then perhaps consider giving him a donation. It's not easy running for public office. I have been there. I understand how hard it is, how much time it is taking out from your personal family life and careers. I really thank David for stepping up to run for state assembly.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Yang. Thank you so much, everybody that's watching this segment. So bottom line, united we stand, not just as Americans, as Chinese Americans, as parents, also as human beings. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.